just some observations from still an outsider's view, but hopefully interesting.
Thank you very much for your. Dr. Ramchandra?
Thank you, sir. Just 3 points very briefly because I know time is running out. The first is, since the session is focusing on metropolitan governance, I think one way forward which one could take up for discussion or further consideration is how to strengthen the metropolitan governance structure in the form of what Dr. Sivaramakrishnan referred to, committee becoming a council, and I suppose in our given scheme of things, this dominance of the state government as far as the megacity or the metropolitan areas is concerned is bound to continue. Mumbai will be governed more by the chief minister and the system in Mumbai. Similarly, Bangalore would be governed more by the chief minister and the system in Bangalore. So I suppose it's a question of how the metropolitan governance system can be strengthened. I see another layer of governance coming up. People may not like it, but I see another layer of governance coming up where the main city plus maybe some of the other cities also would be participants in that process, and probably for better decision making or for better investment, the involvement of the chief minister or the minister concerned would become necessary. So that could be yet another form of experimentation as to how to strengthen the metropolitan form of governance. That's the first point. The second point is, since Dr. Kasturirangan is here, I don't know whether we also seem to be following a policy of divide and rule. Delhi MCD was one single corporation, divided into 3. I don't know whether it makes a difference for the people or it's only for thinkers and discussants like us. It makes a difference whether one is in north or south or whatever it is. For the person on the ground, whether it makes a difference. In terms of governance, whether it makes a difference. I find Bangalore also is probably thinking in terms of dividing the huge structure. I won't be surprised tomorrow if Mumbai also starts thinking in those terms. So the trend seems to be divide the existing large bodies into 1, 2, 3. And probably if what I heard is correct, in Delhi they are thinking in terms of again unifying. So these type of political experiments will continue to happen as far as local self-governance is concerned. That's also a given situation. Now I don't know whether it's going to make a big difference. One heard of Greater Hyderabad, Greater Bangalore. That's probably more in terms of the development authority concepts, not in terms of the, I don't know whether Mr. Mohanty will confirm whether the Hyderabad corporation also, the area got enlarged or only the city corporation also. So these type of experiments keep happening. What we are trying to focus on, that probably does not seem to happen as far as the state governments are concerned. The third final point, I want to join issue with Dr. Partho on the point about the 300 crores per kilometer which can be spent on metro can be spent on 1,000 buses. I mean, 3,000. Sorry? 3,000 buses. Okay, very good.
Depends on
very good. Very good. The first question I would like to ask is, where do we position these 3,000 buses? And this is critical for a city like Cochin, which tried for a metro for quite some time, and I had looked at it. Cochin is a linear city. If you place 3,000 buses on the road, there is no road left, and there is no place left, and there is no movement left. So we'll have to think in terms of moving away from the given modes of transport. You can argue that it can be improved, it can be bettered, and people can be asked to take out personalized vehicles and all that. But when it does not happen, we have to have an acceptable form of public transport which does not take away the road space in one sense. Either it goes above or it goes below. So I think we'll have to have, and that is what the Unified Metropolitan Transport Authority should be actually addressing if they have the secretariat and if they have the professional support for that. Bangalore also went in for an executive decision, but it's only Hyderabad and Chennai which went in for legislative arrangement to have the UMTS. I had great hopes on Bangalore, especially with the Directorate of Urban Land Transport also. Yeah. So there could have been the inputs coming from the Urban Land Transport Directorate, but I don't think it has moved forward beyond that. So these are all critical
Committee
issues.
is still deliberating, but the decision looks to be there. That's what it stands. Any other, maybe a couple of observations, yes, short observation before we request the panelists to. Yeah.
So my name is Sandeep Thakur. I am from National Institute of Urban Affairs. We have been helping MOUD in monitoring of performance grant of 13 Finance Commission. And I would like to bring the attention to the audience is the slide which has been made on devolution of functions along with funds and functionaries. I would like to bring here the attention is that these all metropolitan cities, million plus cities, all are governed by municipal corporation acts, which might be quite different from municipal acts and have larger span of doing these things and guidelines. But at the same time, there is a huge list of obligatory and discretionary functions as prescribed in these municipal acts. And many of the states have incorporated all the 18 functions which were as a part of 12th schedule of 74th Constitution Amendment. But the implementation is not guided by these municipal acts, first thing. The second thing which I want to raise here is that in the present scenario, in the present accounting systems of ULBs, municipal budgets do not explain what is being spent on what function, because function-based accounting system is missing in the present scenario. The second thing, which is most important thing, is now we have finished 4 rounds of state finance commissions, and probably many of the states is following with the 5th round of state finance commission. I have not come across any state finance commission report where they have been able to identify what functions in their state ULBs are performing, what money is being spent on those functions, what are the functionaries which are involved in those functions, and what are the financial gaps and what are the means of financing those functions. So in the present scenario, how will we address this issue of functions, funds, and functionary? My question is to the experts who have already dealt with this matter, how to go about it, because a city cannot be called as a smart city if it does not know that what money is being spent on a particular function. And we are talking about e-governance and all those things. Thank you.
Yeah, one last question, because I think we'll have to make some observations at the end. Would you like to?
Good afternoon, everyone.
One or two.
I'm Ghanshyam Thori. I'm working as Additional Commissioner in Municipal Corporation Ludhiana. A couple of observations. A lot has been discussed about raising of resources, but what about spending? Spending the money which you have already raised. What I've seen is, before an election year, the state government announces that all your contractual employees will be regularized. So suddenly your committed liabilities are increased 3 to 4 times. Then suddenly in an election year it happens that you are going to take up these 50 crore projects on loan just because it's an election year. So Ramachandran sir told, it was discussed earlier that the repayment of loan is being kept by the state government. But why was the loan sanctioned in first place? It was the state government's priority. So, and those are sanctioned because they want the MLAs to get elected other than the councillors. So that is one observation I wanted to have, that even spending, apart from this also, there are other projects which are directly mandated by state government. And let us start mechanized sweeping. Whether it is the need of the city or not, it is directly mandated from above. Now, again coming to user charges, just to put things in perspective, I meet people, we discuss. So I generally ask them, how much is the electricity bill which you pay every month? So they'll say, we pay 5,000, 10,000 every month. So how much do you pay to the municipal corporation? So the annual figure comes to 5,000 in terms of water and sewerage charges and in terms of property tax. So I tell them, when electricity which you are using in your house, but once you move out of your house, you expect roads from the corporation, street light from corporation, water, sewerage supply, everything from corporation. Where is it going to come? Just to put things again in perspective, our entire revenue resources which we raise from property tax, building application fee, whatever, in 1 month is 8.5 crores for Ludhiana, I'm talking of. And our street lights bill alone, plus your tube wells and all, because we supply water through tube wells. It's 9 crore is the electricity bill. So your electricity bill alone is more than all the user fees you are collecting. Now there was a third point, that municipal corporations should be empowered to raise their own resources. I've seen the councillors themselves, they don't want to raise resources for areas they are empowered because of the democratic setup we have. So even this needs to be viewed with caution, that whether the property tax should be mandated from the state government or it should be whether it should be delegated to the corporations. Again, there was a point raised earlier that commissioners are the agent of state government, but I've seen otherwise. I've seen young enthusiastic IS officers coming, want to make a change, battling with councillors that don't take up new proposals because we are in a financial mess, but they are shunted out. Commissioners are shunted out 3 to 4 months is the average tenure of commissioners I've seen for all municipal corporation in Punjab. So this is another point. So finally, where do I see a solution? Whether I don't see a solution locally or at state government level. Probably how things can happen is, let's say if at central government level, smart cities, when the minister raised this point that for 100 smart cities, cities have to qualify themselves. But it puts me in despair. How the cities of Punjab, because with the corporations being in a financial mess, state government not doing financially well, how will we qualify? So probably there should be a consensus that a certain set of services, let's say 100% water supply, canal based, because underground is not sustainable in the long run. We have 100% sewerage system, storm sewer system. We can identify, okay, these are the needs which are mandatory for all the cities, and maximum central assistance should be provided directly. So the DPR should go to the central government, direct funds should be transferred to local government. Only that is the hope which I see, that okay, probably the citizen can get some services. Thank you.
Thank you. I think maybe we can give a few minutes to Ishar and Vaidehi and yourself to respond to some of these observations.
Well, after such a huge reality check, and I must really thank you for speaking, because it's not for want of trying. We tried very hard to get local government commissioners and others here. This happens to be budget session for most assemblies, and we were governed by this date because Parliament had just ended and we wanted the minister. So now we got caught between the session here, but we do have some others that are present here from Rajasthan and also Andhra. So it's not, but they are not speaking, you see, and I'm so glad that you've spoken. None of what you've said is unfamiliar to me, but you know what I find between a Punjab situation, which I'm very familiar with, and say a Bangalore situation, is that in Bangalore, the demand for good governance is rising, and voice of the people is asserting itself. In Punjab, there is basically no economic policy, there is no economic strategy, it's all a big political economy game in which everybody is kind of, you know, caught. So the only hope in my mind would be that we should go for demonstration effect, where the state is providing and enabling an environment where there is some financial resilience with the cities, and where there are champions who can take up these causes. We should show that you don't need rocket science to change the state of our cities. And once that happens, the states which have been dragging their feet will just have to wake up, because with telecommunications and young India emerging, I don't think that you can, you know, keep these insulated success stories any longer insulated. So in that sense, the reaction of people in Delhi to the two major parties and what they've come up with, they'll find out. But the voter still has the ultimate weapon 5 years later. So I do think that our much blamed democracy, which we talk about, ultimately, that's the least bad system there is, and that's the system we